My mother had an unusual name, Damaris. It's in the Bible, and it's a Greek name. And I often wondered how she got that name. Well, the truth was revealed to me one day. I just purchased the car. I took my parents for a spin. And we went round Bethesda, Lanfrancon that way. And when we came back home, there was a car outside the house, and there were very few cars in the early 60s where we lived. And there were 3 people in the car. So I wonder who they are, you know, business, you know. Yeah. So I went in the house, and then the bell went on the door, and a little old lady in the door. One of them had been sitting in the car outside. She said, "Excuse me, I'm looking for a Damaris. She used to be Damaris Jones." That's my mother, I said. I'd like to see her, please. So I brought her into the parlour, right, into the posh house, and my mother came through. Our mother looked after her. "I'm Nurse so-and-so," she said. "I brought you into the world in 1915. You were the first one that I brought into the world as a young nurse and midwife. And I've just wondered what happened to you. And I've forgotten your name." In fact, she said, "I gave you that name." My mother was going to kill her because it'd been a rope from my mother's neck. Damaris. She couldn't say it as a child. She called herself Massey. And we found out that when my mother was born, the nurse was thanked for performing a wonderful birth. They said to this young nurse, "What would you like? We would like to thank you. How can we thank you for what you've done, bringing this beautiful girl to the world? May I call her with one of my favourite names?" And my grandmother said, "Yes," foolishly. She said, "Damaris," and that was it, stuck. It found out that this lady, this nurse, was a deeply religious woman. And she knew her Bible back to front. But it's a name which everybody knew. So I wasn't Dennis Roberts. I was Hogyn Damaris, Damaris's boy. My father was Gŵr Damaris, Damaris's husband. He's never Griff Roberts. It was Damaris. Yeah. So the name had a purpose as well. A name identifies you. It certainly did in my mother's case. Played lots of soccer, although it was difficult to play soccer in Penn because there isn't a flat field in Penn to play soccer on. There wasn't then. And our play field was called Cae Bach. There was no Cae left, there was no field left of it. It was just a stone, you know. And I still have a scar from that time there, from 1945, when I fell playing football in Cae Bach. From the age of 18 onwards, I played one or two games for Pall Mall Reserves. And because at the age of 20, I moved to start teaching in the Manchester area. So and then to Mid Wales. So I played for teams in that area and only came home to Penn to play football when I was needed. I'd come home for a weekend and there'd be a note, "You're playing tomorrow," because the regular goalkeepers were injured or ill or whatever, you know. Well, there were at least 3-4 fish and chip shops 3 in the town and 1 in St Gwyn's area. We had a favourite fish and chip shop in town. I won't say its name, but the lady, Mrs. So-and-so, she made great, wonderful chips. I didn't realise till a bit later that during the day, she spent the time washing bodies down before burial. And if I'd have known that at the time, I don't think I would have liked to eat the chips. I love walking. I walk these mountains. I know every inch of the hills behind here. Because they're fascinating. The hills above Pall Mall are full of history. So I can pass the walks there They went along ancient tracks which went back to the Middle Ages and further, and there were things to be seen everywhere. There were the huts which belonged to the people who lived 700-800 years ago, and I was fascinated by them, mainly because nothing had been written about them. You know, they were a mystery, and I enjoyed delving into this story. Still don't know the answers, but I'm still interested, fascinated by the history. And then coming towards, further to the west above Penarth itself, you have the area of Meini Hirion. It was a fascinating area, and so much to be seen, so much to find.